Okay, we're live. We are live. Earlier today we did a video and it's crazy what you can't post today. It's just crazy. You got to be careful, you got to be careful what you're posting, what you're saying, and of course for your safety. For your safety. It's got to be for your safety. If it wasn't for your safety, it wouldn't be done, you know what I mean? That's been the tagline, by the way, throughout human history. Whenever people have been trying to, or I should say entities been trying to take away different rights and whatnot, it's always for your safety that they take them away. How have you tried to protect the family that doesn't listen to you? So he's talking about, maybe he's trying to tell his family about fluoride and GMOs and whatnot, and they're not interested in knowing. Well, I say this, not everyone is on the life path that they're meant to become completely aware in this incarnation, in this reality. So they may have a life path which is to stay completely asleep for a little while. And so what I suggest is do not waste all your energy or, drain yourself trying to wake up people who are not meant to be, maybe, or not choosing to be aware. Because I'll tell you something, there are more people than ever before who are one conversation away from being completely aware. And then there's also a bunch of people who may not wake up in a very long time. And so you got to, choose to where you're putting your energy. Don't just try and give it to someone who's not willing to be aware. You know what I mean? So you want to protect your family? Well, you can plant seeds. That's basically the main things you can do, is just, try to raise awareness. A lot of parents drink wine and beer and whatnot. Remember, all alcohol, never mind the actual negative effects of alcohol itself, but the conventionally produced wines and beers have a ton of pesticides, such that, and not to mention, usually they're produced with fluoride water. You may think it's a bit of an overkill to be worried about the fact that, yes, there is fluoride in alcohol, in a lot of beers and liquors and wines, etc. But unfortunately, it is very, very, put it this way. Fluoride doesn't kill you. It's a slow dose poison. It's each little molecule of it that accumulates in your brain gets you lower and lower. So that's the importance of avoiding that stuff at all costs. Not to mention, you can get, by the way, for those who are asking, yes, there is organic wine, there's organic beer. And that's a lot better for you. But let me just say that it is also, alcohol itself is also quite unfavorable. In fact, we could talk all about that. But you may want to, especially if you love beer or love wine, it may be, think about it for a second, because alcohol kills brain cells, and I think it kills specific brain cells, by the way. I don't think it just kills random brain cells. I think it's specific. Then it's actually consuming you, not the other way around. When you drink alcohol, it is consuming you because it is killing your brain cells. So I suggest trying, because I remember in grade 11 and 12, when it was literally every single Friday night for a very long time, super wasted, drunk every Friday, Saturday night. And I remember then, after, almost 2 years of that, it became, it's actually chiller. I don't feel like going out. Come on, I don't want to really go party. And I remember after a month or two of weekends where I didn't get wasted, I was like, wow, that's probably so healthy. I'm probably, rejuvenating from all the, I didn't even think about chemicals back then. I just thought about when you're actually completely wasted, it's probably not that good for you. And then months and months, couple of months, and I was like, damn, that is healthy. And I can't imagine how unhealthy it is to get extremely wasted all the time. Unfortunately, it kills a ton of brain cells. And not to mention, like I said, the preservatives, people are drinking alcohol. It'd be one thing if you're drinking just straight up what our ancestors drank, just organic, no pesticides, no chemicals, and it's just straight up alcohol, which still isn't good for you, but it's a lot better than all the strange chemicals they have. Don't feel bad about having an organic beer if you or with your family, whatever, if you want to do that. But don't feel like you have to as well. And for those who are asking about weed, we have talked about this before. Of course, cannabis, weed, marijuana would be better than drinking. Statistically speaking, it is definitely doesn't, but I will say that, and we've talked about this before, but the amount of THC that's in weed today is completely unnatural. It's no longer ancient heirloom. If you can get heirloom weed, I'm sure that has benefits. And I'm sure if you are chronically in pain and all this, like, weed is really extremely good for that, for sure. But what they're doing to the fact that weed used to be illegal and now it is run by the government should make you go, what the heck is going on? But yes, and by the way, I wonder how many people are in here for the first time, because I have talked about weed a few times, but obviously not everyone, it's different. Different times a day and whatnot, different people are on. But I would say just watch out, because yes, it's definitely much better to smoke weed than to get drunk in terms of brain cells. Not to say that smoke doesn't kill brain cells, because I do believe that it does. But just be careful with the high THC. I swear, man, like, that's not good for your brain. It's not good for your brain to get 30-something plus percent THC in your brain when ancient weed had like maybe 3 or 4%. And it was just kind of probably a mellow, whereas now it's like blow your head off weed, And I don't think that's necessarily that great. So, but for those who are, who were drinking all the time and were literally, pretty much alcoholics, like, put it this way, you may not feel addicted or, like, reliant on alcohol, but if you drink it without hesitation every week or every two, consistently, and you don't go months without, that is technically alcoholism. Like, that is technically the definition of alcoholic, those who don't stop drinking, who drink consistently, By the way, for those who smoke weed all the time, which I used to as well, it's a very good idea to take it's not that weed kills brain cells, urban shaman. It's that smoke of any sort does kill brain cells. It's not, smoke isn't meant for your lungs. If you really want to, talk about it, the best way to ingest weed would either be through a vaporizer, which raises the temperature of it till the crystals and whatnot turn to vapor, or, which is much easier on your lungs, or edibly. But again, I don't recommend, to be honest, unless you're in chronic pain, or put it this way, a lot of people use it as a crutch and they can't go without it, and they use it as a crutch and they get stoned all the time and they can't sleep without it and blah blah. That's when you want to take a break, because you're getting a little reliant on it. So the best thing would be and especially, like, if you're using it medicinally, that's completely different than if you're just using it recreationally all the time and whatnot, you know what I mean? So yes, and this is what I'm getting back to, is that your brain gets very sharp and calibrated when it is free of stimulants for a long time. However, some stimulants like caffeine are good for your brain in specific doses, not ODing on it, but certain stimulants, even nicotine, is good for your brain. In fact, a lot of people, we talk about it, smokers' paradoxes, where smokers have lower rates of certain illnesses and whatnot than people who don't smoke. Now, cigarettes, of course, let's not even get started, super toxic, but you can get organic tobacco and cigars or a pipe where you don't inhale the smoke, because smoke's not good for your lungs, can be beneficial as well, to just get the straight organic nicotine, which does have an effect on the brain. It actually prevents against Alzheimer's and things like that. Let's kick this guy out talking about meth. It's not even funny, really, man. Like, there's a lot of people who are addicted to meth, not because they're doing meth out of a crack pipe or whatever, but the things that are prescribed at the doctor's office. And I personally know a guy who was not feeling well and whatnot, and they prescribed him some stuff. And it's been over 10 years that he's been trying to quit the meth-derived pharmaceutical that he was taking. I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy. And the fact that, but of course, like, it is foolish that weed was illegal while they were selling methamphetamines from the doctor's office. That is stupid. And it is interesting that it seems like only once they can actually figure out how to genetically modify weed are they now down to legalize it. Now, I'm not saying all weed is GMO and whatnot, but there are some strains that are, for sure. And Of this nature by Margot said Adderall is meth. Yes, there is methamphetamine derived things in Adderall, which is strange because a lot of kids take it. And that's who people trust. People wearing a white coat who tell you to take this and it will make you feel better. But, I see why they would think that. And it's because the mainstream, it's not even about the facts. This is the thing. This is what I notice. I know someone who the father and two sons are all trying to tell the mother something. The thing that's going on today, the big scam that's going on today. And the mother would sooner listen to the people on TV and what the norm is to believe than her own family. And that's when mind control has been hit to the maximum degree. If your family member listens to the news over her own husband and sons who are trying to tell her something like, yo, this shit is going on, like, pay attention. There's a huge, gigantic scam going on today, and here's all the evidence, blah, blah, blah. And they prefer to listen to the guy on TV or the person on TV. And that's mind control. Make no mistake, that is mind control. And by the way, of course, you are much more easily mind controlled when you have a ton of fluoride in your body, when you have a ton of chlorine in your digestive tract. And it is what it is. These chemicals make you more easily be led, more easily be deceived. Because remember, you have a natural gut-brain connection. You have a natural connection with your intuition. And that would easily uncover the lies of any media, any politician, blah, blah, blah. You would detect it with your intuition because you have this beautiful thing that the prime creator, that the universe, that Mother Nature, that God, whatever you want to call it, gave you to detect things. You know when you get a vibe off someone that they're lying? It's not because of anything other than the frequency that they are emitting when lying. And that's how you get a vibe off someone when they're lying, and you picked up on it. And that is a universe, God, Mother Nature given ability you have to discern truth from lies. And that gives you a little edge up. It's not exactly a physical thing. It's a non-physical kind of spiritual thing that you have as a gauge to see what's bullshit and what's not. And that's an amazing gift, isn't it? But that's what these chemicals take you away from. That's what these chemicals take you away from, is your intuition. And that's the gut-brain connection, which, by the way, is very strange that they're not talking about that today. Eric Beginovi said, always follow your gut. And that's true, but if your gut is polluted with pesticides, glyphosate, atrazine, turns the frogs, you know what it does to the frogs. You know what atrazine does to the frogs. You will get you will be decalibrating your gut-brain connection, and therefore your gut could lead you wrong because your gut-brain connection is altered from these chemicals. This is what I'm talking about. The spiritual warfare. It is in fact a spiritual warfare, and it's not fought with exactly the guns and bombs you would think regular warfare is fought with. It's instead fought with covert means. Covert means. And like I said in my story today, which I may delete, there's two ways to depopulate: mass killing or mass infertility. And we know which one is sneakier. We know which one will get less attention. We know which one people will not see coming. Think of it. When you tell someone who's eaten the same food all these years, hey, be careful. There is a mind-altering, neurotoxic, chemical, biological agent in the food you eat. They go, dude, I've been eating it for years, man. What are you talking about? Meanwhile, they don't even know their pineal gland is a little rock in the middle of their brain because it has absorbed all these chemicals over the years. Remember, this hit me hard when I found this out. It hit me hard. That fluoride absorbs into your third eye, your pineal gland, the gland in the middle of your brain, that is responsible for the connection between the gut-brain connection and your intuition, absorbs fluoride faster than any other tissue in the body. Now tell me, is that specifically targeting your pineal gland then? Or is it a coincidence? Hold on, back up. How many coincidences do we really believe in today? It absorbs in there faster than any other tissue in the body. How the hell did they figure that out? How much clinical testing, scientific studies did they do to figure out that fluoride absorbs, that this chemical absorbs into the mines the fastest, so let's use this for their water. And let's teach all the medical textbooks to teach everyone that fluoride's good for your teeth. And that'll be, look, they're sitting there plotting. That'll be the myth we sell them, so that they drink it and then they brush their teeth with toothpaste, which they're on drugs when they're brushing. But again, these aren't drugs that you take and then it's like, boom, you're high. It's a drug that is in low doses. Low doses. You get a cup of coffee at the drive-thru, you're getting fluoride. And don't think, by the way, Europe doesn't have fluoride, but don't think that they don't have something else. I mean, I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news here, but fluoride is very harmful. But the chloramine, because apparently they don't just use chlorine anymore. It's not enough to poison you with chlorine. They got to add chloramine, which is actually much more, has a longer half-life, is more toxic than chlorine. And so in Europe, they got all kinds of chlorine. They got all kinds of pharmaceuticals. Remember, they can figure out, supposedly, if you believe their story, can get someone on Mars, or a whatever rover on Mars, but they can't figure out how to get pharmaceuticals and birth control out of the tap water. Very, very strange. Now remember, people are asking, you can get, the best thing is not, a lot of people ask me about the, and of course, you can smell the chlorine out of your tap, which is very strange as well. It's like swimming in a pool, but you're drinking it, showering it. But this is my point, getting to the solution here. Bottled water is not the way because there's BPA. Write that down. That's a rhyme. Bottled water is not the way because there's BPA. And also, they have, as you know, a lot of the times they have these bottled waters. They put them on a truck. And sometimes they'll be parked. You don't know if they have been in direct sunlight for a long time or any really amount of time. Because remember, when sun hits plastic water bottles, it leaches a ton of BPA. Not to mention, they find microplastics in bottled water that's not even of the same plastic that the bottle was made of. In other words, it was tainted before it was even added to the bottle. So the best thing to do, and a lot of people ask me about water ionizers, and I will say water ionizers are better than tap water, but they are a complete scam. Let me tell you how. Someone's going to get mad. Sorry, a lot of people are doing the affiliate, the multi-level marketing with these water ionizers, and I'm not trying to chirp you, but when people ask, I will tell. Alkaline water is a complete scam. Alkaline anything, if they tell you alkaline or acidity, doesn't matter. It's the effect that it has on your system, which is important. So for example, a lime is acidic, but it is not acidifying to the body. It's alkalizing. That's right. So Drano that you dump down your drain is alkaline, but it's not alkalizing to the body. It would kill you if you drank it. The pH of what you're eating or drinking is not important. It's the effect it has on the body. So if you have water at an alkaline pH and you're drinking alkaline water all the time, which by the way, no water in nature occurs at an alkaline pH. It's mostly acidic. Most healthy systems of water in nature are at a slightly acidic pH. The importance is not that they're not in an alkaline state. And in fact, try putting alkaline water in your fish tank. See what happens. It will die because it's had that's not a pH that biological life forms are really. Put it this way: all, like I said, healthy water systems, slightly acidic pH of the water, and all springs are at a slightly acidic pH. You won't find them at a high alkaline. Now, this is the important thing. Your stomach is acidic. Your stomach acid is acidic. If you're drinking alkaline water day in and day out, you are diluting stomach acid, which you want to be careful because then your body has to work harder to produce more stomach acid. It can put a strain on the body. It's no good. So that's important to know as well. And that's why these water ionizers are a scam, because they artificially electrocute the water, which gives it a fake charge. Because in nature, water has a magnetic charge, which is beneficial in healing. But the charge you get from a water ionizer is a scam because it is just electrocuted water. And then there's also no minerals. Remember, all healthy systems of water in nature are at a slightly acidic pH and have minerals and are naturally charged. So if you have water from an ionizer, there's no minerals, it's a fake charge, and it's at a whack pH. So that's why ionizers are a scam. The best thing would be a reverse osmosis or a distiller. And again, you don't want to drink just straight distilled, just straight reverse osmosis. The best would be if you could go to a physical spring. But for most of us, that's not that easy of a thing to do. You can go on findaspring.com, and you will find a ton of springs in your area. There's thousands across the United States. There's thousands in Canada. There's thousands in Europe, all over the world. And you can go and fill up at a natural spring. And that's great too. But the maybe a more easier one or something that's also great is getting a reverse osmosis or a distilled hooked up to your sink. And when you're drinking that, that's good, but you also want to mineralize it. You also want to, some people put in a pinch of salt. It's not supposed to be dead water. It's not supposed to have no minerals. And remember, sun charge. Put your water in the sun. Put your water in the sun. Why don't they teach us that in school? The benefits of solar water, when water gets electrically charged by sunlight. Please. So, not to mention that even if you are getting, for example, if you're getting bioavailable minerals and you're putting it in your water, for example, like a few different types of salt, which don't taste salty, by the way. If you add the right amount of salt to water to give it minerals, it won't be salty. You add too much, it'd be salty. But the food and water supply today, and this is what we're talking about when it comes to your body detoxing. What do you require for detoxing? What does every single biological process in your body require to function properly? Of course, it's minerals. But the thing that's a problem is that when everyone's drinking alkaline water because they think it's going to alkalize their body, they may not realize that every single different organ of your body has a different optimal functioning pH. And what optimizes the pH of your organs are minerals. So we need minerals. But if you're eating food today, that's what I was saying. If you're eating food today, even a fully organic diet, you're only getting 10% of the full matrix of minerals. And yes, Troy, you're right. Do not charge your water in plastic water bottles. Like get a glass jug. So yes, even if you're eating all organic, you're still only getting a fraction of the minerals, unfortunately, because there's also a concerted effort, just like there's a concerted effort to get fluoride in your water, there's also a concerted effort to get minerals out of the food supply. Because if you're eating food with high mineral contents, that will detox your body because minerals replace heavy metals. And you remember that, of course, there is also a ton of heavy metals in tap water, and there's heavy metals here and there and all over the place. It's like people are more bombarded with heavy metals today than ever before, not to mention chemtrails. But what replaces heavy metals are minerals, which is very, very important. So you see why there would be, they're teaching in school today, the best way to grow food is to spray fertilizers, is to spray pesticides to kill the bugs and things like that. When in truth, if they really cared about how we grow food and the health effects of healthy food, they would teach natural farming techniques, natural farming methods. So yes, organic food's good for you. Organic food's the best. That's definitely what we should be using. And as much as you can, get organic. But just know that basically supplementing is no longer an option. It is a necessity to live a healthy life in 2020. Based on the fact, 2021 now, based on the fact that unfortunately all the strange agendas against humanity right now, which are coming to light, by the way. And also minerals are frequencies of light. So that's why earlier today when I was talking about the purified shilajit and the Irish moss, with the full matrix of minerals in the Irish moss, when you're taking that every single day, think of what minerals do to your system. You feel completely different taking them. And someone else said to me, they asked me about why it is that in school they teach women specifically that for acne, you should take birth control if you have acne. Oh, you should, eh? That's your option to that? Remember, acne is usually caused by a hormone imbalance. So they say take synthetic hormones if you have acne. That's what they teach girls in school. Young, impressionable female, and guys too. I mean, they tell them, yeah, that's a great thing for girls to get, blah, blah, blah. And then they don't tell you that the long-term effects of that. Remember, there is a company that produces, I think, like 60% of the birth control that's consumed in North America, and it's owned by Monsanto. They own the trademarks on it. They own it. It's Monsanto. So you thought maybe it was just... So Monsanto, the same one that spends hundreds of millions of dollars to hide the fact that their food is what's being consumed by your friends and family at the grocery store, they're also selling you birth control. Wow. Something to pay attention to. And just when we thought all is, we can just kick back and hang out and just chill, there are entities plotting against the betterment of you that do not have your best interests in mind. The companies that make that are owned by Monsanto. And people are, what do you say? I mean, you got to spread the word. You got to screenshot. You got to post. You got to make a meme about it. I mean, come on. Natural fertility trackers are the way to go. Birth control is dangerous and toxic. And I got to be careful even talking about that because, that's big pharma. I mean, come on. It does come down to the same agenda. It does come down to the same agenda. And keep in mind, unfortunately, this is not an isolated thing. They're going to countries that are less developed and they're giving them free, what I just mentioned, for free, and they're giving it as a great option, and they're trying to make it sound like this is what you do in a civilized country, is you take a hormone-altering drug so that you can be more promiscuous, or so that you can, it does promote that, but my point is this: there are natural ways to do it that aren't so unfortunately toxic to the human body. And again, that ends up in the water supply. That ends up in fish that people eat. So natural fertility tracker is the best way to do that for women instead of taking a Monsanto byproduct of neurotoxic chemicals. I'd love to get on with Monsanto. Remember when the CEO, was it, of Monsanto said that, yeah, glyphosate's safe. I mean, I would drink it. He said he would drink it. They poured him a glass on camera. They poured him a glass of glyphosate and said, would you drink it? He said, I'm not stupid. Turn these cameras off. And he stormed out of there. Watch it. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. So, again, acne is generally caused by a hormone imbalance, and then they give women hormone-altering drugs to stop that. Or at least they say it's a great... Imagine that. Imagine a pill that's designed for one reason, but they say it's great to take it also for this other thing. One must heal once from the illness and then once from the pill, if you know what I mean. Not to be confused with a capsule, like Chalk's capsules, which are made out of non-GMO organic rice hulls as the excipient, and non-GMO highest quality veggie capsules as the thing that encapsulates the ingredient. So, for example, I can tell you this, that your pineal gland requires, as it is coded in a calcification, which most people you see walking on the street are definitely, their pineal gland is calcified, which definitely puts a damper on their dreams. As they're dreaming, they see less, they're less, you could say, vivid dreams, less intuition, etc. The solution to that is, of course, cutting out all those toxins, but then also getting bioavailable minerals into your system, which help break down calcifications and acidic deposits. So when you start you want to talk about what decalcifies the pineal gland? Never mind that for thousands of years they've been taking Shilajit to enhance pineal gland function and meditations, etc., but also bioavailable minerals like the Irish moss, which is a complete superfood. When you get that into your system and it starts getting all of the unfavorable, it starts, you could say, detoxing. I don't know if that's the proper, I don't know if I can get flack for, you got to be careful what you say nowadays. But definitely the Irish moss, the purified Shilajit, and the Tongkat Ali for hormone optimization. If you've taken those types of hormone altering drugs like I just mentioned, or drank tap water, there is rejuvenating to do. 100%, and you will feel difference when your pineal gland decalcifies. I remember I heard, and this isn't uncommon because I Googled it and I see that it actually is a real thing, that when you start to decalcify your pineal gland, things get a little crazy. This is how I describe it. Think of you feeling normal right now, and then think of a 10 times more clear mental clarity, concentration, focus. You're coming out of a drug-induced state. It feels like you're coming out of a drug-induced state. And that drug-induced state is what they want us all under, which is just a really big form of mass mind control. Remember, pharmacy translates pharmakia, translates, which is Latin for witchcraft. So when everyone's drinking tap water with pharmakiacals in it, that is mass mind control. That is witchcraft. I don't know what you want to call it, but all I know is that you could say one is looking too far into it, but when all this connects, none of this is an isolated incident. And by the way, people are mentioning the Latin term for Irish moss. The only certified organic, certified wildcrafted Irish moss that I'm aware of is the Chalk Supplements. If you find a better one, let me know. But Chalk's Irish moss is certified organic, certified wildcrafted superfood. And if you were to take a high mineral content superfood like that, along with Tomcat 100, which is their certified organic, rather clinically studied, not certified organic, it's certified wildcrafted, which is actually better than organic, by the way. When you see organic versus wildcrafted, certified wildcrafted generally is better. It's coming from healthier soil, because they can have organic foods grown, and that's healthier than conventional food soils for sure. But you got to watch out for the fact that wildcrafted is much superior. And by the way, you can't grow shilajit. So all shilajit is essentially wildcrafted, grows out of the side of a mountain. It doesn't grow, it exudes. It's not an agricultural product, and that's why you cannot certify shilajit as organic, because it is not an agricultural product. So, and earlier today, when I mentioned that this is completely a secret, covert war to cause mass infertility, and we will talk about blackouts in a second, Chalk activated a flash sale. And as of now, it's probably 6 hours into the flash sale. I think they told me after the live feed, there's probably going to be 30, 45 minutes left that code will still work. It's a 60% off store-wide code for any Chalk supplements. The Chalk Daily, the Purified Shilajit. Fiona asked which one is for women. All Chalk supplements can be taken by women. The only one specifically for men is the Daily, and people are loving this. We got over 1,000 third-party verified 5-star reviews. Most people in this group, most people watching this right now probably are taking Chalk. The Irish moss comes in a capsule, and they've condensed it, so you're getting an intense dose of nutrients per capsule. And when you take 3 a day, which is the recommended dose, you're getting the full matrix of bioavailable minerals, which, by the way, has the highest natural mineral content in the natural world. And the Purified Shilajit has 40 trace minerals as well, which contains fulvic acid. And we talked about fulvic acid all the time, but that does increase memory, concentration, focus, mental clarity, and optimizes hormones for both men and women. And it's fully natural. It grows out of the side of mountains I say grow, but again, it exudes. It just squeezes out of the side of mountains in the Himalayan mountains. And absolutely incredible. So people are loving the Shilajit, especially, and by the way, people are asking about pregnant women, nursing women. You can't legally say at all to take anything, any supplement, any company who says, yeah, it's great for pregnant women and nursing. No. Completely different ballgame. You have to discern for yourself, consult your healthcare practitioner. Legal. You got to go to them first. Don't come to us asking this. It's under your own discretion, but we have to tell you to consult your healthcare practitioner. Yes, exactly. And that's why it's a good idea to get, someone asked about lights. You do want to get natural, like for example, on our phones, there is night shift mode. That's great. Changes the hue of the screen, and it makes it so it's not blue light, which disrupts, again, hormones. Blue light disrupts hormones, disrupts melatonin. And I wish there was a TV show right now that hundreds of millions are watching that would talk about the importance of melatonin. I wish. How come the lizard people at the Capitol don't use their powers to stop the dumbasses? Good question. Good question. That's kind of saying, though, that if there were those type of people, that they would be for the betterment of humanity. But to my knowledge, it is the other way around. All right, Bob, kicking you out, boy. And also, interestingly, about these blackouts. So there's a blackout going on in Pakistan right now. Or is it Afghanistan? Yeah, Afghanistan. and 200 million people out of power. If that is accurate, which allegedly it is, that means that's the biggest power outage potentially in human history. Someone said, I take melatonin every night because of insomnia. Now I'm dependent on it. Well, it's funny because when I used to, speaking of weed, when I used to smoke weed a long time ago, it, you feel like you can't sleep without it. And I took melatonin the odd time so that I could make sure I got to sleep. But I'll tell you something. There is nothing better than when you produce your own optimal amount of melatonin. You know the feeling, when you take melatonin, you're like, oh great, like I'm going to sleep so well tonight. I'm going to get tired naturally. It's just a really calm, sleepy feel. Imagine not needing to take melatonin. Imagine being able to just produce that naturally. It is a powerful, powerful thing. Nighttime comes, dim the lights, turn your screens down a little bit if you're still on them. And the melatonin that kicks in, you can feel it kick in. It's absolutely incredible. And by the way, most unfortunately, melatonin supplements, of course, have fillers, have binders, make them into a tablet. They add maybe even cornstarch sometimes, usually GMO. And that's why something like the Tongkat or the Shilajit are absolutely incredible, because they naturally optimize your hormone production, including melatonin, which is, of course, the hormone which repairs your DNA overnight. Day 7 of sobriety, I'm having withdrawals, but I'm dealing with it. Power to you, brother. Power to you. Unless, sister, power to you. That's amazing. We need more of that. People feel the difference you will feel fully sober, fully rejuvenating, because your body is in a healing process right now. If you're telling me that you're sober from maybe obviously just alcohol, your body's rejuvenating right now. Devanch Dalmia said, it's a good question, but super political. I heard yes, to put it that way. You also want to be careful with, for example, vitamin C, because a lot of those unfortunately have very strange additives in it as well. The best way, I would say, vitamin C, I mean, you could take it in a capsule, but it's so sketchy because vitamins can be synthesized. It's hard to find out which ones aren't synthesized. So that's why the best thing would be apples have a ton of vitamin C, organic seeded oranges. Let me tell you something. If you live somewhere right now and you get seeded oranges that have seeds, I want you to go to the store, buy a few bags of it, absolutely bless it. Thank the cashier. Take it home. Put these oranges in a bowl. First wash them, put them in a bowl, bless them, and consume them. Because seeded oranges, unfortunately, are in short supply in countries around the world because they're making them seedless, which is altering their genetics. Not GMO, but hybridized, crossbred, and you don't want seedless anything. So yes, very, very good question. Seeds or food with natural vitamin C, it's not synthesized. If it's organic, if it's seeded, then it's not synthesized. That's the best way to get your vitamin C, in my opinion. But things like the, in Action 2.0, there is also a vitamin C extract in there, which is hard to find something that's not synthesized. And in Action 2.0, they have a high content of vitamin C in one of their clinically studied ingredients. That's why I love Action 2.0. A lot of people take it. It is for unparalleled all-day natural energy. It has the rhodiola rosea in it. And let me tell you something. We need to launch a new, that's right, it's from amla extract. Amla is a fruit, an Indian fruit, another Ayurvedic beauty. And it looks like a grape. And it has it's one of the highest contents of vitamin C in the natural world comes from amla. And it is like I said, an Ayurvedic fruit, but they treat it like an herb, and an extract from that is in Action 2.0. So if you want vitamin C that's actually bioavailable, actually absorbable, as well as something like rhodiola, which is its own super mineral, but it's its own shilajit. It's like another version of shilajit because it's so good for your brain. The more things we can take to optimize our brain function during this war on human brain function, I mean, what else do you want to call it? Let me ask you this. What would you call it if a bunch of things are added, unfortunately, into the food and water supply, which wreak havoc on brain function? Please. So the action kicks in 15, 20 minutes, and it's a natural energy. There's no stimulants. So when you take it, imagine when melatonin kicks in naturally when you're sleeping, and when you go to sleep and you start getting tired of that natural, imagine that natural feeling, but of energy, and you start getting natural energy levels. That's what Action 2.0 does. So that's why I love taking it. And in fact, I actually probably will do about a half dose right now, because I mean, we're getting ready to hit the sack in a little bit. But it's not like you take it and you're wired. You can take a full dose and go to bed. It's a natural energy that is basically waiting for you to step on the gas. In other words, it'll adapt to what you're trying to do. If you're trying to run, it'll kick in. If you're going to sit down and relax, then you're going to get the other benefits from it, like increasing the energy of the oxygenation, for example. It also does that. It's clinically studied to boost oxygen content in the blood. Super beneficial. Now remember, this is the flash sale that Chalk activated. 60% off store-wide using the code 60OFF. So make sure, and I'm going to send a voice message off of on Telegram again. People are asking me more voice notes on there, like kind of a podcast. 60% off store-wide. This is the biggest. I don't think they've done a 60 off in maybe over a month and a half. Because they got a new shipment coming, so they budgeted to be able to do a 60% off sale. So the 60% off store-wide. Definitely get a month supply. We don't know what's coming in the future with all this. People are talking about power outages and stuff like that. We want to make sure we got the necessities. High content nutrients, high bioavailable minerals, and all your supplements. So you can get a site-wide 60 off, and this is the last call for the 35% off lifetime discount on any Chalk supplement. So it's pronounced Amla. Okay, right. Well, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful herb. If you look at Amla under a cross-section, they cut it in half, and you look at the cross-section and you see the sacred geometry. Very interesting. Half Joint said, why can't you just buy a bottle without a subscription? All Chalk supplements can be purchased with or without a subscription. You can buy it by itself, or you can subscribe to it. But the benefit of subscribing, you get a multi-month supply. Like, this is the point, is that the clinically studied benefits are based on consistent consumption. So a lot of people like to subscribe with a lifetime discount, and that way they're getting it every single month. But if you live overseas, it makes a lot more sense to, of course, get a bulk amount at a deep discount like the 60 off. But again, that's supposed to close like half an hour after this live, so I don't want to hear any complaints if it doesn't work. Ordered 2 weeks ago, didn't get a track number. Check your spam folder. It regularly goes to spam. And if it's not there, DM Chalk or email them, and they'll send you an update on your order. That must be overseas, though. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take 2 weeks usually in the States. But over the holidays, that's why we were talking about ordering before Christmas. The people were swamped with orders, the USPS, etc. Also, I saw a video, unfortunately, of... I think I've kicked this guy out like 3 times, but it's of someone getting arrested for walking with their family because they were outside for a few hours. And remember, in Europe, right now in the UK, like, you can't go out unless you are like going to work, or you have an hour a day that you're allowed outside. I guess for some reason. Kick Lewis. Okay, thanks. I like how you guys are all rats for me. You'll rat on someone, because I can't read every message, but when people say, I like how no one abuses it either. They tell me to kick someone, and it's someone who actually ought to be kicked, you know? So that's great. We got like a little tattletale and thing here. No, I'm just kidding. Tattletales in school. Remember, that's the people today who would call the cops on someone having a few people over. The tattletales in school, that's who'd be doing that today. This guy said, actually, don't know the gender, but which is your favorite? Which Chalk product's your favorite? Definitely, if we're talking for men, would be it's hard to pin it on one. There's 7. So I would say the Tomcat's amazing. The Daily's amazing. For men to start, Daily Action Tomcat combo is insane. 60% off would be crazy with that, or 35% off lifetime. For women, you got to get the Shilajit. If you're a lady, you're looking to just get one, definitely the Shilajit, or a 3-pack with the 60 off, which is insane as well. But yeah, people are getting arrested for walking around with their family in Well, that's not all. T-Chaz said he/she. Well, there's more than that, apparently. That arrested because they were walking around for more than an hour. I guess someone ratted on them. Like, this person's been in the park for like multiple hours. They're supposed to only be an hour. Because remember, that whole thing falls apart if no one rats on each other. There's nothing to be able to, you know, their power dwindles if we stop complying. Put it that way. Okay, and T. James, I'm going to answer that question. That's a good question. First, though, because my buddy Armin's asking about blackouts. Yes, apparently there could be some blackouts. I don't know why. I'm choosing to know why. I don't want to say I don't know, because when I say I don't know, I'm cutting myself off from knowing. Instead, I'll say I choose to know. I choose to know why there could be some blackouts. But a lot of people have been saying, you know, in 2011 there's supposed to be one, in 2012 there's supposed to be one, you know. So I'm pretty sure that... Okay, I'll kick him out next. Cabal will fall. That's a sweet username, by the way. Good question, Veggies. Good question. Is there a way to legally decline the test? You guys know what test we're talking about. For women who have to give birth in the hospital. Well, hold on, back up a second. Why do you have to give birth in the hospital? Remember, hospitals are for sick and dying people. Why would you take it? And again, I don't know your situation, but I know that the vast majority of reasons to go to the hospital is usually completely manufactured. There's no more risk of a baby. Put it this way. When the baby is ready to be born, it will release the hormones and it will be born. It will come out. You can't stay pregnant forever. So if you haven't gone into labor yet, if you haven't got, the code is 60 off, Arising Lotus Florals, 60 off, 60 OFF. When your baby's ready to be born, it will release a hormone. Hopefully your hormones are good. But even if they aren't, it'll still release a heavy dose of a hormone and you will go into labor. And B. Freestone said, find a midwife. But I will tell you that you also want to be careful, because I knew someone who had a midwife. And, okay, let me just back it up for a second. I don't know why you're going to a hospital to give birth. Because you legally don't have to, unless there's something I'm missing, like unless we're really down to the wire. Because what I'm getting at is that they tell women that they're more likely to have a miscarriage or a stillbirth if it's past a certain amount of weeks. This myth has never been backed up with any factual evidence, ever, that you are more likely to have a stillbirth after 41 weeks or whatever it is. False, completely false. They say that because then most women, like probably 50% of women, give birth after the baby's ready to be born after that. It's not a one size fits all. So when that day comes and it's past the certain amount of weeks, your midwife legally has to send you to the hospital, has to transfer you, and she can no longer assist your birth. There's something called the Free Birth Society. I recommend everyone look up the Free Birth Society. Remember, they were, the way you know they're legit, by the way, is that they have a hit piece written on them by a mainstream news article that says there's these wacky whack jobs who believe it's fucking whack to have a birth in their own home. Let me tell you something. No animals in nature like to be observed and prodded and watched and disturbed when they're giving birth. You want to go up to a horse when it's giving birth, you're going to get kicked in the fucking forehead. But yet, for some reason, we have women today, and they go to the hospital, and they're not quiet, safe, and unobserved. They're being prodded, they're being questioned, they're being asked, they got a clipboard, they're looking at it, they're poking at it, they're inserting their fingers, they're testing, they're this, they're that. It's bullshit. The second you start releasing cortisol and you're trying to give birth, the cortisol stops the natural hormones that your baby is about to be giving out when it is ready to be born. So when they tell you that you have to go to the hospital because it's past a certain amount of weeks, blah, 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 it's false. Don't be scared. Your body you will give birth. Let me tell you this, 99% of the reasons that people are C-sectioned or there's birth complications is due to the medical system, not because someone gave birth 44 weeks. Someone would be like, holy shit, that's so fucking dangerous. Go get it yanked out of you right now. Ever watch a C-section? I tell you, you may not want to. but go watch a C-section video on YouTube. It is absolutely alien. It is absolutely, let me tell you this. Someone just said, it's alien, it's fucking evil. But they say that they save a baby. They say we x-rayed it. We used ultrasound. We saw the cord wrapped around the baby's neck, so we had to save it by C-sectioning it. Well, the cord can never strangle a baby because it is so elastic. It is so elastizing that it can never strangle the baby. And by the way, the baby's getting its own oxygen. It's oxygen from the cord. So the cord will not strangle the baby. It's a myth to get you to be C-sectioned. But someone said, here, once I helped a cow giving birth. She needed help. Her baby calf was getting stuck and she was crying. So are you sure you're right? DJ15 asked that. Here's the thing. There's a story of people watching a caterpillar turn into a chrysalis, into a little shell, and it's about to open up its shell and turn into a butterfly. They saw that it was struggling on the way out of the chrysalis, cocoon rather, and so they decided to help it by cutting the cocoon open and pulling out the wing, the what was turning into a butterfly, and they saved it. Well, as it turns out, the only way butterflies can ever use their wings is if they use their wings to punch through the cocoon, which activates them, which sends all this energy, not necessarily blood, energy to the tips of their wings, which turns them on and essentially activates them. When they C-sectioned, I say, but when they cut it out of the cocoon, they essentially made it so it never was able to fly. It needed to go through that struggle. Women need to go through and it's not necessarily a struggle. Most natural births, home births, water births, lotus births, free births, it's not even really a struggle. It's a beautiful experience. And so my point is this. When they try to alter it to save, and by the way, maybe that cow, put it this way, by the way, nature has this beautiful thing where it's natural selection. If a cow couldn't give birth naturally, then biologically, it's survival of the fittest. It's survival of the fittest. So sometimes you got to let nature take its course. But I'm just going to say that if you watch videos of some of the very strange methods they have of getting babies out of mothers in hospitals, you'd probably be sick to your stomach, because most of them, when you find out that most of them are unfortunately completely artificially induced into the idea that they required the doctor's assistance, when in fact, if they just stayed home, relaxed, waited for their hormones to kick in, waited for the baby to be born, they wouldn't have had to have a completely altered birth. And by the way, guess what fetal heart... See, here's another person. They, other than prefer... the odd person is like, oh my God, a guy is talking about birth? Oh, triggering me. Yes, many different people of all different genders. And by the way, don't assume my gender. But there's many different people talking about the harms of the medical system. 800,000 people die a year. 800,000 people a year die from medical malpractice. Hospitals are statistically the most dangerous place for you to possibly go. And you go there, and I'm not chirping anyone who's done this, and you go there to have a natural birth. Remember, a birth is a natural process, not a medical emergency. So remember that, Mrs. Whoever just chirped me because of my gender, which you assumed. Come on, man. And yes, it is a complete myth. I don't care if you're a nurse or whatever, but I'm going to tell you something that one of the biggest scams to C-section someone is they ultrasound, which again, if you were meant to see into the mother's stomach, she would be like a kangaroo. She'd be a marsupial. You could see through her stomach. If you were meant to see through her stomach, you're not. It's supposed to grow. If you trust your body to grow the baby, you should trust your body to birth the baby. Okay? If you trust your body to digest, and if you trust your body to breathe while you're sleeping, you can trust your body to birth naturally like all your ancestors did. But half of the time, I keep saying half, but it seems like probably even more, when they take an ultrasound, say there's a problem, stresses you out, and then they induce the reasoning of as to why they need to C-section you, remember, there's 1.5 million reasons they want to C-section you. There's 1.5 million reasons. And so they especially use the illusion that the cord is wrapped around the baby's neck. We gotta yank it. So just be aware that they want you C-section. Not only do they make more money off that, but if you look into who owns the medical system, who's teaching these people about this, it is actually a cult. It is kind of like a satanic cult. The initiation, think about it. They call it, when they make a mother go into labor, they call it induction. Induction. Isn't that the exact same term that is used when you are initiated into a cult? You're induced into the cult. It's an induction to the cult, to a secret society, and they induce women. It's an induction to the medical cult, whatever you want to call it. And what they do when they strap a fetal heart monitor, which is pulsed, here's the thing, they call it non-ionizing. Here's the thing, they call it non-ionizing. Shradishration. I'm not even going to say the word. Anything that's shradishration, radiation, I said it. But then they put the term non-ionizing in front of it, so you go, oh shit, it's safe. Let me tell you something. Strapping that to your gut to zoom in on your baby's brain with these radiation frequencies is not good. And guess what? Guess what else? Did you know that your water, the water of a woman, is supposed to cushion the baby so that the contractions aren't too traumatic? There's a cushion in between. When they induce you, okay, so when they break your water and then they give you Pitocin, they drain the water, which makes the baby more susceptible to trauma from the contractions. And then Pitocin, which increases the frequency and the severity of the contractions. It is trauma to the newborn. It is trauma to the child. This is a common practice. And then if she's not ready to give birth yet, because of course she isn't because they induced her, they crank up the Pitocin until there's fetal distress, which they see on their radiation device, and then they get you a C-section. And this is fucking designed to do that. Okay? And if you look back, money isn't the full motive here. It's deeper than that. It's traumatizing children since they're babies so that they're more likely to be more easily led when they grow up. Because if you're traumatized, you're in a state of much more easily able to be mind controlled. Not to mention then the genital mutilation that happens to boys, they don't talk about. And it's illegal to do that to women, but for some reason it's okay to do it to boys, which is very strange. But anyways, something to be aware of. And this is, years ago I was watching a lady called Janice Barcelo, and I swear, if you're chilling, you want to watch something that'll blow your mind, that we need to know, that everyone needs to know, we changed the earth, we got to change the way we birth, watch Janice Barcelo. Janice Barcelo. Check my Telegram. I'm going to voice note after this. I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to do a podcast on my Telegram after this, straight into it. And this is the last call, the complete last call for Chalks. 60% off site-wide discount code. It's a flash sale, and the 35% off lifetime discount. Get your hormones right. Get your fertility right. Secret chemical war against fertility. Boost your fertility naturally. Boost your sperm count. Boost your energy levels. Regulate your menstrual cycle. Using big words here today. The purified Shilajit, the Chalk Daily, the Tomcat 100. Use the discount codes. Get an insane deal. This is a flash sale. It's probably closing 30 minutes after this live. So I want to make sure everyone gets in while they can. Go to chalk.com. Use the code 60OFF, 60OFF. We're going to talk more on the Telegram. Much love, everyone. We're going to talk soon. And again, get in on this deal. You're going to love the feeling you get taking these clinically studied nutrients. Rare plant compounds. People are loving their chalk. Check out the third-party verified 5-star reviews in the story highlights at Get Chalk. You're going to love it. You're going to love the feeling you get taking these nutrients. You don't get this shit from even organic food. I'm telling you. Now, much love, everyone. We'll talk soon. I'll post this live if they let me, if it doesn't get deleted, ST.